Hi everyone, Ninja Knight here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. So, before I get into the article itself, I just wanted to point out this article first from Bounding into Comics, and it says that Amazon's The Boys executive producer Seth Rogen claims Christians believe Jews need to die in Israel to fulfill an apocalyptic prophecy. Now, this article goes into detail of what he said, and he makes some outrageous claims. He decides to fall back on the fact that he's a Jew and then says then he's not really that religious and he thinks religion is silly for the backing up of his claims. It's very strange. He's a very strange individual, and the fact that he's involved in the Turtles now is quite nerve wracking, to be honest, with what he could do. Um, We've already seen the alterations that he's made to the boys, and it's something I've been critical of in the past, particularly to do with Stormfront. And I have a feeling why Seth felt the need to make that change. So it's very baffling, some of the comments that he makes in this and how he's getting away with it kind of unscolded. He's another individual as well too that's on Twitter that's talking about defunding police and how America is so bad and how it's so volatile and how, but yet he wouldn't go to Israel. He tells Mark Maron in this interview that no, I don't think I'd go to Israel whatsoever, with you know what's going on there. So instead of sticking to his guns and saying, look, I'd go across there and I'd live there, no problem, I'd be with my people, because that's the way he tries to say these things. Instead, he's like, no way, I'm not going over there. It's too volatile for me. Yeah, he's fanning the flames for BLM and all this sort of nonsense on. So this is the last person I wanted to see involved with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or any sort of property that I like or love. So it's disappointing to see this, and with the recent revelations made by Rogan, I highly doubt that I'll look at The Boys Season 2, which is unfortunate because again, it was season one was really good. I really enjoyed it. So season two, I think, will go down this woke route, and with Rogan at the helm, and the fact that he's tarnished Christians in the past as well too, it just starts adding up now for me. So anyway, we'll digress into this article anyway and discuss it. So Seth Rogen says how his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be different. Seth Rogen is said announced in June that Seth Rogen and his longtime producing partner Evan Goldberg have teamed up with Nickelodeon for a CG animated reboot movie of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is where things start to get weird with things that he says within this interview. In a recent interview with Collider, Rogan opened up on the upcoming project, revealing that their TMNT reboot will lean more towards a coming-of-age story that has been left out in previous adaptations. So he describes himself as as a lifelong fan of Ninja Turtles. Weirdly, the teenage part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was always the part that stuck out to me the most. What? So I'm going to break that down for you. He's a lifelong fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and to him, he's never seen a coming-of-age story. That's a lie, because that's been done numerous times within the TV shows. It's been done within the movies. It was done in the animated movie, in my opinion, that there was a real coming-of-age, particularly for Raphael, who was growing older and starting to wise up to the fact that he had to have a team behind him rather than just going on his own. This is a complete lie from Rogan, and I mean, it's clear that the man's brain isn't functioning properly, and he's just an idiot. So this is again, like I said, this is the last person I wanted to see having anything to do with it. But what's curious as well too about this is there's four words: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the one word that always stuck out to Rogan was teenage. That's a very strange word to focus in on, isn't it? Particularly for a grown man like him. You would think that maybe the word ninja might stick in there. It certainly would with me, obviously, given the username. Or turtle or mutant. There's three words there that are far more interesting than the word teenage, but yet Rogan's decided to hone in on that one. It's very weird, and I'd certainly be keeping an eye on Rogan now, personally, I would, if for anything that he says and does, really, because this thing could make a bit of a comeback, I think, eventually. And as someone who loves teenage movies, I'm sure you do, and who's made a lot of teenage movies, yes, you have, and most of them are the same, with the same sort of humour, which is not really good. I think you've only done Superbad, really, that was any sort of use, and the rest of them have been absolute junk, in my opinion. And Superbad, even when you watch it now, it's not great. And who literally got their start in the entire profession by writing a teenage movie, yeah, and you haven't progressed from there on, buddy. The idea of kind of honing in on that element that was really exciting to us. I mean, not disregarding the rest, but really using that kind of a jumping off point for the film. So I think for his film, you can probably imagine that Jay Baruchel is probably going to voice like Donnie. You can probably imagine that you're going to have, I suppose, James Franco as Leonardo. maybe himself as Michelangelo with that horrible laugh, or maybe he'll put himself as Splinter. You'll probably see Danny McBride as Raphael. I'll be shocked if any of these individuals are not involved in this movie, to be honest, because he loves a bit of nepotism as well too. It's disgraceful, to be honest, and he's going to use this as another vehicle to throw his old ideas into. So it's, if you think the crude humour was bad with the Michael Bay movie, I think you've another thing coming with this one, personally. The CG animated project is set to be produced by Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and James Weaver through their Point Grey Pictures banner, and has landed Jeff Rowe, Gravity Falls connected, to helm the project, while Brendan O'Brien, neighbour Sorority Rising, is attached to pen the script. There's some quality attached to your name, neighbour Sorority Rising. So the film that nobody actually heard about. Oh, this isn't good, man. The new film will not only mark the first time in over a decade that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film has been completely animated. I thought that one was absolutely phenomenal, the one that was out in 2007. I thought Nolan North absolutely killed it as Raphael. He was excellent. It also marks the first ever CG theatrical production for Nickelodeon Animation Studios. We'll see about that one, because if the theatres ever reopen, and again, it's looking precarious by the day, particularly with Disney dropping Mulan. With Ramsey Nato, EVP of Animation Production and Development, overseeing the project for Nickelodeon, while Josh Fagan is overseeing for Point Grey Pictures. Sarah Silverman, Seth Rogen to lead HBO Max animated series. This is a woman as well too that was involved in blackface and open minstrel behaviour. It's crazy. But yet, still there, and will criticise the Orange Man so bad. Originally created in 1984 with the Mirage Studios comic book of the same name, the titular heroes were first brought to life on the small screen. And I think I'm going to preface that by saying the Mirage Studios comic book was quite violent. So I mean, the fact that Teenage stuck out to Seth Rogen again is another strange. It's a strange comment that I'm going to keep going back on. It's a very weird thing to hone in on those 4 words, in my opinion, in my personal belief. The titular heroes were first brought to life on the small screen with the 87 TV series before coming to the big screen in 1990 at New Line Cinema. Lovely films that were done by the Henson Company. Henson, just a master. With the film garnering major box office success and spawning a franchise of 3 films. After an initial CGI adaptation in 2007, again, I think that movie is absolutely brilliant, and I love the fact that it used kind of monstrous characters as well in it for the turtles to fight. Very interesting in my opinion. The franchise would be revived in 2014 with a live-action CGI hybrid theatrical film produced by Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes and Paramount Pictures, with the first being panned by critics, while the latter received better reviews than its predecessor. That was a commercial failure, leading to the scrapping of its third film. I'm going to say something very controversial here, and I like those 2 films. I like Michael Bay. I like his Transformers movies. I'm a big Transformers fan, going back as far as G1, Beast Wars, the whole lot. I love the Transformers movies, and I love the Turtles movies. I thought they were very masculine, they were very macho, and yet there was still a point of Raphael, for example, as well too, being able to show his emotions. I really like that film. Crude humour aside as well, which I think the movie needs to get there as well too, for people to laugh at. I really like the movies, and overall I think the designs for the turtles, I know a lot of people didn't like them, but I love the fact that the turtles were absolutely enormous and that they could absolutely whip the Foot Clan, and they could take out ninjas as well too. I loved Bebop and Rocksteady in the second movie, and I thought the fact that Seamus, a fellow Irishman, big up Ireland and Dublin, I think the fact that he was Rocksteady in it was really cool, and that really drew me into the movie, because again, you're not seeing an awful lot of Irish voices, particularly red-haired white people in movies anymore. So I mean, to see him in there, I really like that. And obviously disappointed that third film didn't come along, because again, Krang, that was in it as well, was really well done, I thought. And Casey Jones was the only weak link of those 2 movies in my opinion. I thought Stephen Amell, even though I like Stephen Amell, didn't do too great as Casey, to be honest. Needed a bit of something fresh. A reboot was initially announced in 2018 with Bay, Andrew Form and Brad Fuller returning to produce, and Andrew Dodge, bad words, to set to pen the script. But after a year of development, co-creator Kevin Eastman confirmed in an interview that Paramount had taken the negative responses to the last 2 films to heart, and that they were taking their time to deliver next level type of stuff. So the next level type of stuff is Seth Rogen. Really? I mean, like, there you are, your writer's credit that's going towards this is a guy that wrote Neighbours Sorority. Really? I mean, say what you want about Michael Bay. Michael Bay is an absolute juggernaut for success. His Transformer movies, in my opinion, were far better than the Bumblebee movie. The Bumblebee movie, in my opinion, was trash. The Cybertron scenes were okay, but I mean, the voices and all of that were awful. Peter Cullen was great as Optimus Prime as always, and I just thought it was a trash movie. It was just really bad. So the fact that Paramount have taken it to heart and they're setting their sights on next level stuff with Seth Rogen, really? I don't know. And considering the recent comments that he's made surrounding Christianity, and he's made comments in the past as well too, and he had very controversial stuff on Preacher as well too, with having, uh, our Lord and Savior on that show, engaging in things that were ridiculous. So I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be supporting this now going forward, and this guy I think is one to watch as well too, particularly with 4 words, and he's singled out one word in particular. I'd certainly be keeping a very sharp eye on this guy going forward. Anyway, that's my news for today on the Turtles. Disappointing to see Seth Rogen is involved in it. I don't know what other way to spin it. Get ready for bad humour, nepotism, probably some sort of woke nonsense within it, I suppose. And then again, this guy is going to continue failing forward, and we might be stuck with him now, with involved with the Turtles for a couple of years. Not good. Not good whatsoever. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, stick a like on the video, which would really help. Share the video, which is always great. And subscribe to the channel, which would also be fantastic. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And good luck.